You're watching 13 News, and we start at 4 o'clock with breaking news. I'm Dustin Grove.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. Just hours ago, a driver was shot on 465 on Indy's north side.
I want to get right out to Karen Campbell. She's live outside Ascension St. Vincent Hospital, where the victim is now being treated. Karen, what have you learned?
Hey, Dustin. Yeah, I mean, we've learned this incident happened, Felicia, as you mentioned, hours ago, just after 1 o'clock. Now, Indiana State Police are taking over this investigation. Right now, I do want to share that information is limited. They're still speaking with the victim to find out specifically how this interstate shooting happened. That is what Indiana State Police tell us. This was an interstate shooting somewhere between the exit of Michigan Road. The victim was traveling eastbound, and he got off at the 96th and Meridian Street exit. Now, we were at the scene at that 96th and Meridian Street exit. That is near an Arby's. There's a gas station. There's also a Starbucks in this parking lot area. We saw a black Chevy SUV that appeared to have, at least from what we saw, at least one bullet hole in that vehicle. The victim at that time was already taken to the hospital. So you see several Indiana State Police surrounding the vehicle. Crime scene investigators were there, of course, analyzing that vehicle. Later, of course, we saw a tow truck come to take that vehicle away. Now, we do not know at this time, if Indiana State Police are looking for a second driver, the person who allegedly fired shots at this vehicle. Now, again, we're told the victim is at Ascension St. Vincent getting treatment. There are also reports out there that the victim may have gotten shot in the leg. Now, we don't know how many times the victim has been shot. That is information that we are awaiting to hear from, again, Indiana State Police, who's taking over this shooting that happened on the Interstate 465, somewhere, they say, between Michigan Road and that 96th and Meridian Street exit. Dustin, Felicia.
It's so disturbing on a stretch of road that we've all been on, and in the middle of the day as well.
A lot of people pass through there. So Karen Campbell is on top of this breaking news. She's going to continue to follow it. As she just mentioned, that victim is at Ascension St. Vincent and being treated. We know one person was shot near 96th and Meridians. We'll keep you updated on this. You can follow along online or stay right here with us.
All right, now to the big tribute today for an Indiana icon.
A ceremony drew leaders from around the country to remember former Senator Richard Luger here in his hometown of Indianapolis. Matthew Foltz shows us how the late political leader is being honored for the impact he made around the world.
The Richard Luger Monument now stands in all of its glory. Its unveiling today brought out dozens of people from all across the state, as well as leaders from across the country. And it's a monument that they say pays homage to one of the most influential politicians in Hoosier history.
Applause filled the air as the new Richard Luger statue was shown for the first time. The historic day brought out leaders who knew Luger well, including former Vice President and Indiana Governor Mike Pence, Mayor Joe Hogsett, and former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Former President George Bush and Governor Eric Holcomb sent video messages. Luger was mayor of Indianapolis from 1968 to 1976 before serving as a U.S. Senator for 36 years. Today, Rice gave the keynote message explaining how monumental this monument is for a man who gave so much for politics and the country.
It is to vivify and to bring alive the spirit of Dick Luger. A spirit that saw a problem to be solved and solved it. Just as our Constitution from Madison on expected, that politics would have to be about cooperation and compromise.
The monument will now be moved and installed at the Luger Plaza, which is on the south side of the city-county building, for the public to view and enjoy. Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
Thank you, Matthew. And those who knew and worked with Richard Luger say that spirit of cooperation and compromise really embodied his career.
As Matthew said, he served as mayor of Indianapolis for 2 terms, overseeing the move to a unified city-county government that became known around here as UniGov. And he did that at a time when many cities had tried and failed to do the same thing. And then when you think about his 36 years in the Senate, Luger is remembered by so many for his bipartisanship. And one of the highlights that garnered him recognition around the world, as you see right there, the Luger Cooperative Threat Reduction Program that has dismantled more than 8,000 nuclear warheads over the last 3 decades, especially in the Soviet Union. And we talked with our political analyst, Peter Rustoven, about all of that when Luger died back in 2019.
If you look around, look in Washington or in the State House, and you look at people and you say, who would you want your son or daughter to be like when they grow up? You could look at Dick Luger and say, that's how you should be.
And Luger went on to run for president in 1995 and was reportedly under consideration for Secretary of State several times over the years. So certainly a statesman and a role model, considered to be one of the most influential politicians in state history, now memorialized here in his hometown in front of the building where it all started. Other news now, an Indiana family is getting closer to finding justice in the death of their loved one after 31 long years.
The family of Carmen Van Huss and law enforcement gathered for a press conference less than 2 hours ago. 19-year-old Carmen Van Huss's body was found by her father in her North Indy apartment back in 1993 after she didn't show up for work that day. Law enforcement interviewed several community members over the years, but the case went cold. In 2018, an IMPD detective submitted a DNA sample from the 1993 crime scene to a DNA technology company. Those samples have led police to a Missouri man.
There's a lot of people that miss Carmen all these years. She had a lot of family, a lot of friends. She had cousins that loved her like sisters. She had an aunt and uncle that loved her like a daughter.
52-year-old Dana Jermaine Shepard of Missouri is charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of rape. He is under arrest and in custody tonight. In the next few days, Shepard will face a judge for extradition back to Indianapolis. Tonight at 5, Carmen's family talks more about what this long-awaited arrest means to them.
Homicide detectives are working today to figure out what led to a deadly shooting overnight on the south side. It happened just after 12:30 this morning near South Meridian and Hannah Avenue. That's where officers found a man who'd been shot. Medics rushed him to the hospital where he died. And around the same time, police say another man who'd been shot walked into the hospital. He was treated, then detained by police who eventually let him go. At this point, investigators think the 2 shootings are connected, but they're still working to piece it all together. If you have any information, call police.
All right, we are going to take a turn to weather. It's that time of year where you wear your jacket to work and then you have to take it off and stuff it in your backpack, kids.
Yes. Yeah, and that's really going to be the theme as we move forward. We have a 7-day that has one day near 90 and a day with lows in the 40s. So
something for all of us.
Sounds like the Midwest.
That's right.
We aim to please here in the weather department. Let's show you what's happening right now, and it is another comfortable day here in central Indiana. The air feels nice. Now, it's not that complete blue sky we've had the last couple of days, but the air again feels very comfortable. Temperatures in the middle 70s after the lows we had this morning that were in the middle to lower 50s. Some mid-high level clouds, and as they hang around, should set the stage for a very vibrant sunset here this evening. 75 in Indy with a comfortable dew point of 43, courtesy of that east wind. That is a dry wind at 10 to 15, and it's undercutting this cloud cover. The farther north you go, the more blue the sky is. But that cloud cover is very harmless and didn't really slow us down from creeping into the upper 70s to almost 80 degrees. It's a gradual warm up this week here. Muggy meter remains very comfortable as these dew points, again, as we talked about, in the 30s and 40s. You have to get down into Texas to find the closest rain. So we're just going to get a little bit of this cloud cover here this evening, but that dry air eats away at anything from trying to happen. The slightest of chances of something on radar locally tomorrow and Thursday. We show you this front because that front will bring the chilliest air of the season. We will time it out, talk about our best chance of rain with it, all ahead in the 7-day forecast here in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll get back to you in just a sec, Sean. Thank you so much. Here's a check of traffic. It is 4:09 this Tuesday afternoon. This is a look at 465 near US 31 North Meridian Street. Things are moving in all directions. We have no backups there. And then we have a second camera here. A little bit more traffic on the road. Looks very different from yesterday. This is I-465 US 36 Pendleton Pike.
Back at work. Everybody's back at work today. And a heads up if you'll be driving downtown today. South White River Parkway is closed between Washington Street and Oliver Avenue. You can take Harding Street as a detour. This is all for construction on the Henry Street Bridge. The White River Innovation District project is moving into its second of 3 phases there. The White River Trail will also close between Kentucky Avenue and Washington Street. Work on the west side of the bridge is expected to start later this year.